Okay, let's do collective reading. I just want to jump in and see what's actually around you guys right now. It's not necessarily how you're seeing your world, but what's the energy that's actually around this collective right now? Because I'm having a feeling. I just want to confirm it. All right. Well, first card's out, it's not good. Sorry. So there's some sort of burden, some sort of block, some sort of restriction, some sort of codependency maybe being activated right now. That's making your relationships difficult. But there's also vulnerability around you right now. There's to get ball and chain with a glass heart right next to it. We'll just have to see what comes out. Remember, this is again what's actually around you, not what you think. So you would feel it, but maybe your intuition's a little bit off, which is why I wanted to start this way. Maybe there's something that requires transparency that you feel you don't have, and that's what's keeping you stuck. This card, I do see it as a card about forgiveness. It says take a risk on it too, but it's just about being open and vulnerable and honest. It's about being clear. It's about being intentional with our words. And then you've got the geese card. That's about relocation, movement, knowing where you're going, leaving no one behind, knowing how to be dependable, knowing how to be faithful. And then you've got the firefly, 1111 too. I'm not a numbers person, but you did get 2 11s. And then that's about illumination, self-discovery, soul spark. So, one more for this ball and chain. What's been weighing you down? Something that's come around quite a few times. Something that's had a lot of cycles with the boomerang. The return. So, with this movement and this firefly, I feel like this is what the universe is pushing you towards, that you're maybe just not seeing totally clearly. Because like whatever that has been stuck, that's actually in your energy, that's created restrictions and heavy burdens and baggage, it's come around more than once. It's like that boomerang, the return of an item, health, money, friendship, relationships, enthusiasm, or energy. And I'm not going to lie, as I'm doing this, I'm feeling like a solemnness. And I know that's your energy because it's not how I was feeling when I sat down or when I was thinking about doing a collective. So let's get your emotion real quick. What's this collective's actual emotion? Uncertainty. And I think that makes sense with the movement. Sadness. Yeah, I do feel it. Overwhelmed. This is really heavy. Makes sense with this glass heart and this vulnerability. I think whatever's been weighing you down, we'll get tarot to confirm it, but it's been a heavy burden that you've tried to reconcile, rectify, fix, mend, whatever, for a long time. But all it's ever been, and I'm not saying this to be harsh because I can see where you are emotionally, so this might be sting a little, but it's always been a burden. The difference between something that's a lesson and something that's a challenge is how we feel when we engage with it or after we're done engaging with it. What I mean by that is sometimes when people and situations keep re-entering our life and they genuinely don't make us feel good long term. I don't mean like the short bursts of like happiness or, you know, especially if something is like a romantic relationship and it's very seductive, or it's friendship and it's very like, you know, playful and exciting. I mean, in the long term, like when we get home, we're just by ourselves, we're in our own heads before we fall asleep at night. If it's a consistent negative emotion that's dragging up feelings of, you know, codependency related sort of, you know, I'm not good enough, the anxiousness, the sadness, the overwhelm, then it's not a lesson in how to persevere. It's a lesson in how to let go and release and stand up for what we want. If something is actually a challenge, something that is more of a test in a way that it makes us better and encourages us and blah, 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 we feel great when we engage with it, even if in the moment it's hard. Do you know what I mean? For the right collective, that should make sense. Because sometimes I think people see the return of things in their life as, oh, this has got to be a test. I just have to change. I just have to do this. I have to do that. It's like, no, they actually want you to do the opposite of what you've been doing. Source, creator, whoever you think prays to you, your higher self even, then to break you out of a pattern. All life is patterns. And once you can recognize your pattern, you can finally break it. But for this collective, to get the boomerang over a ball and chain, but with the glass heart right next to it, I think you've been trying to mold yourself around a situation that you were never meant to mold yourself around that you were to see, I don't fit here. This doesn't fit with me. These people don't align with me. The situation doesn't align with me. It's and no wonder it's making you feel overwhelmed. Like I could see how it would. Emotional pressure, stress, burdened, so moved, a lot to take on, unable to cope. You're not unable to cope. You've just never been taught, for one reason or another, how to get yourself out of this place emotionally without internalizing that you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Excuse Eve while she coughs up some sort of hairball. But sign, maybe? I don't know. That's gross, but um one of the hardest things about trauma and becoming self-aware of our patterns and our behavior is that it is only our responsibility to fix it. We can have people help us co-regulate. We can have people give us, tips, tricks, be there for emotional support. But at the end of the day, it's still us that has to deal with it. And that is where the overwhelm comes from. It's not supposed to be easy. It was never going to be easy. But that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. That doesn't mean that you're behind or not where you're supposed to be. That just means the lesson is hard and it's worth learning. And it's a big one that you have to learn, right? The uncertainty comes from you entering into territory that you've never been in before. But that is also a signal of growth. I say it all the time. If you can see the path ahead, then it's not yours. If you can genuinely see into the future in the next 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 years, that's not your future. That's your idealization of the future. You're only supposed to have certainty in who you are and how you feel about things. Everything else is outside of your control, right? But that's what's making you sad. That's what's making you feel unhappy and melancholy and troubled and disappointed, but upset and let down. It's not because you did something wrong. It's because this situation is not in alignment with you, whatever this was. Exhausted on the bottom. Let's get this glass heart. So you've tried to express yourself and be vulnerable. And every time that there was movement, every time that there was some sort of information sharing, or you moved towards someone, or there was, some sort of green light, full speed ahead energy behind it, and you were trying to be vulnerable, you still were met with ball and chain energy, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. That doesn't mean try harder. That means see the block for what it is. I know it's easy for me as someone who doesn't know you to just be like, remove these people, remove this situation, remove this from your life. But sometimes the simplest answer is the answer that we need, and is sometimes also the most painful. I have a feeling, because this glass heart is here with a card that's literally this reminds me of Knight of Cups. I have a feeling this has to do with your heart. Oh, and another one. 11, 1, 11. Sorry. 1, 1, 1, but trusting in destiny. That every time you try to genuinely be open, honest, and vulnerable, which is exactly how you should be interacting with people, you were met with that ball and chain energy, and it would just circle you because the lesson wasn't being learned. The lesson is simple. Walk away from things that cannot see that this is the approach that you're trying to take. It just means you don't align with whatever that was. I know it can be confusing sometimes when we interact with people who say that they love us, that they say that they want us in our lives, that they say X, Y, and Z, but then they don't follow it up with action. The action is actually the intention, not the words. Anybody can say the words, but if it's not met with action, then it means nothing. That's hard to decipher. But again, it's making you overwhelmed and uncertain. If you're uncertain, that's your answer. Confusion, doubt, uncertainty, that is your answer. That is a rejection. You should be sure about the people in your life and the situations that in your life that you're in. Uncertainty is a redirection. It's not a hint to look further into the situation that's not working. It's a hint that it is not working. Do you get what I'm saying? What's this on a quest? So you get the feminine energy card. You could identify as feminine, sit more in feminine qualities. It's not a gender thing. It's just an energy, yin energy. So, the entrust with the intuition, surrendering to the divine, more nurturing, more caring, more emotional, doesn't move as much with logic. That's yin energy. And I'm hearing too, this is, I think, what this journey is supposed to be trying to teach you. How to really trust yourself and trust your gut. because clearly whatever this was, you were coming at it from a wounded yang energy of just ignoring your intuition, not listening to red sign, stop signs, red flags, whatever you want to call them, like sitting in a more of a wallowing place, which creates an action. If something continuously circles you in boomerang energy and it's a ball and chain, not removing the ball and chain is wounded yang energy, right? I'm not trying to say this as an indictment because I can tell where your emotion is. So I'm trying to be very gentle, but this being on a quest and a migration, the relocation and knowing where you're going, the source is trying to enact with you feminine energy. I'm hearing you need more feminine role models in your life, maybe more like strong, like solidly divine feminine energies of, you know, people who genuinely trust themselves, who genuinely do not try to force things, who have mastered acceptance and surrender, who are very caring and thoughtful. Not that yang energies can't be that way, but do you get what I'm saying? I want one more for that. Yeah, they want you to see through the facade. They want you to be wise, aware, observant, the owl. That means that you're magic. That's a sign to me when it's cards like, I have very specific cards that come up that tell me that the person that I'm talking to is not only in tune with the universal frequency that tarot kind of operates in, but that they're also magic. Like I think lots of people are magic, but they themselves embody an ancestral magic that they are not in touch with, or they are in touch with and they're using. Like that's my witch. That's one of my witch trump cards. It's about seeing through the veil of illusion and deception and what every 85% of people are stuck in, the self-unawareness and the repetitive cyclical patterns that don't benefit their soul. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those choices, but you clearly are on a quest and a migration and a relocation to find this energy within, to know what's going on, to explore the unknown, lift the secrets and have the insights from being aware. Yin energy, feminine energy doesn't come into strength with that energy by constantly being the little detective and prying and searching and opening Pandora's box over and over and over again. It's because they get in touch with the way their body feels and trusting in that, their emotional compass, right? Which also tells me that the fact that you're in overwhelm, you're not listening to your body. Right now, feel what your body feels like in the overwhelm. Get out of your brain. Like, where in your body are you feeling the overwhelm? What shape does it have? What color does it have? What sensations are they? Like, are you breathing through it? Are you deep breathing? Have you tried somatic? Like, these are all things that balanced feminine energy can naturally alchemize within in order to trust herself. If a situation were to come back into her life, boomerang energy, which was a ball and chain, she could feel it immediately in her body that it is not meant for her. And she wouldn't question that. And she would gently remove herself from the situation with boundaries, with respect for her. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you don't know how to do this. Source is telling me you do know how to do this. You don't do it when you should be doing it, right? It's what's creating uncertainty. Your body's telling you to do one thing and your brain's telling you to do another. What's this firefly, the illumination? The dark to light. So they've illuminated this. Source has illuminated this in probably a very painful way. It's probably some sort of divine intervention tower moment for you. And they want it to be the spark of intuition that drives you forward. Your origin story for growth, right? They want it to give you courage to fully forge ahead because there's nothing in the back holding you down, right? There's nothing still gripping you. And again, as painful as that feels in this moment, they're trying to do that for a reason. They're trying to liberate you from this ball and chain energy. What a powerful image in your mind. If you can imagine that, they're trying to break you from the shackles of this emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, whatever. Standing up for the truth, being bold. This card also says passion, justice, and freedom. Justice, I love the idea of justice, but that's because I'm heavily ruled by Saturn. But in our own personal lives, when large karmic justice moments don't need to happen, like outside of societal structures, justice for us, the liberation we get for us in justice moments comes from when we live authentically and we don't do things for other people that genuinely hurt us, even if it's just self-sacrificing, even if it's just silencing ourselves and what we really want and what we need, even if it's not standing up for what we want. That doesn't mean you have to do any of those things in a malicious way, but that's what liberation is you have the freedom to be exactly who you're supposed to be. So you can align with the people and the situations you're meant to align with. That's real justice. That's karmic alignment. This alignment is trying to create self-discovery in you and remind you that you're magical with this firefly, that you are someone exceptional. They're trying to give you light codes right now. They're trying to set you on a path of self-discovery, and it is overwhelming. It is sad. You have to mourn the person that you were and the things about yourself that you want to change. You have to mourn that. Every time we make big decisions, they spark a grief cycle. Small, large, doesn't matter. It's still a grief cycle. We should move through those out of uncertainty. The uncertainty is the thing here. That's the problem. And I think you think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you think the uncertainty has always been here, and it hasn't. I think this is a new red flag. The overwhelm, the sadness, illuminations can be overwhelming and sad, and you will get through that. But the uncertainty, I'm seeing my Page of Swords. You don't need you already have the answers within. You already have all the answers you need. And no matter how painful, uncomfortable, and stark that they might be, you have them. You don't need anybody else for these answers. That's what divine feminine energy is. She doesn't need high priestess energy. She doesn't need anybody or anything to tell her the way that she feels and what she knows. Oh, yes. Sun card at the bottom. Oh, that just flipped out. What was underneath that? The key, solutions, having insight, clarity, a breakout moment. Another card about liberty, but paying attention and unlocking things. Oh, this is heavy. Let's see what's going on in your life. And let's see, right before that, what this is igniting in your shadow. Alienation wound and hypervigilance. Makes sense if something is some sort of broken bird, some sort of ball and chain is constantly circling you. Your hypervigilance, fixer mode, you're a fixer. Shows up as tension, overanalysis, and a constant sense of needing to be on, even in safe spaces. It can be hard to unwind and let your guard down. Often linked to past trauma, this pattern blocks rest, ease, and trust in the present moment. Trusting. And then alienation shows up as a feeling of disconnection from others, sense of being misunderstood or believing you don't belong. So the way that these, and you would know it already, I'm just like saying it to confirm for the right collective, every single time some sort of wounded, harmful, in one way or another energy enters in relationship, family, friends, work, because you don't want to be alienated. You feel deeply, deeply misunderstood because you're not living authentically in the nicest way. So you're not aligning to people who can genuinely see you. It triggers hypervigilance so that you create a scenario in which you cannot be left. But in reality, you cannot change and manipulate and hyper focus and control every single little aspect of your life. So it always inevitably would fall away. It's a deep, deep seated fear of abandonment and loneliness and isolation. See how they're feeding each other? But it's not because you are inherently unable to be understood. I bet you're an air sign. I mean that in a nice way. And you guys are very, like, air signs are genuinely mystical. Like, the reason air signs feel like they can never be misunderstood is because they live in another plane, on another realm. Like, they're visionaries, and they're so, I think air signs are the most magical signs, like, truly. But that is a part of your spark, and there are people who will understand that. You have to understand that more than anybody for this to truly start to heal. But then the hypervigilance, you're not in charge of anybody else's emotions. If someone genuinely cannot see you, right, makes you feel alienated, you should not want to manipulate that situation until they can see you, right? Other people's opinions about us are just that, their opinions about us, which are directly a result of how they feel about themselves. It's not about who we actually are. That's why you can't change someone's opinion on you. Someone thinks you're the worst person on the planet and you're genuinely a saint. There's nothing that you could possibly do to change their mind. Do you get what I'm saying? not trying to trivialize anything this collective's going through, but the hypervigilance is a really hard one to break because it's a genuine skill and a superpower in so many other areas outside of the heart space and outside of our soul self and our emotional well-being. You're hypervigilant. You are seeing any situation you put your mind to from all different angles, make you incredibly adept at work, make you just brutal when it comes to business. Like, it would make you a lethal weapon in lots of areas, but not everything is a fucking nail when you're a hammer, right? Okay, let's just quickly see what's going on in your life, and then we'll get another couple messages from Source to help guide you out of this, because you're clearly in some sort of transition right now. So what's going on in this collective's world? So the Well in reverse. Judgment upright. You're going through a judgment period. Those are not fun. Do you ask yourself, do you feel like you're going through some sort of spiritual awakening, some sort of rebirth, some sort of charring, some sort of phoenix period? That's what a judgment period is. It's where everything that's not meant for us falls away. And you've got temperance. So you've got protection from the angels over this. Look at your two major arcana, two incredibly spiritual cards about protection, balance, card of angels, ancestors watching over you, and a card of ultimate divine guidance through ascension. New spiritual story all around you right now. Which also tells me that this collective, for you to get the Well in reverse, I don't even know where that book is, but this deck has two extra major arcana. Gosh, wish I could remember where this book was. But because I would wanted to read you the whole thing, but basically it's just coming from a place where you feel like the well has run dry, where you're not trusting yourself. You're very emotional, very sensitive, raw to the touch. The amount of fodder for inspiration is gone, but that's because they're trying to wipe this slate clean for whatever you're meant to be. To get the Firefly, and I knew it right away, the Firefly is a card about being, not just being someone exceptional, but you being a lighthouse in the dark so that others can see. And while that is sometimes a burden, that responsibility, your soul signed up to learn it. Your soul knows what it's doing. You have to trust in that. You have to trust in that path. And you would know this deep in your soul, but your ego and your conscious meat computer mind would hate this right now. Would hate this, would want to go back to the way things were, want to go back to being unawakened and being afraid and, shoving things down and constantly being on that boomerang with that ball and chain. But you can't go back. You can't unring the bell. You can't unawaken, right? This, another card of balance, being adaptable, finding common ground, finding solutions to problems. That's what's actually around you right now. They want you to start learning these big, profound lessons because whatever you have in front of you is really, really important. And it's not going to be just for you. It's going to be your contribution to this place, right? I don't think anybody just my personal opinion, agree with me if you want, or disagree with me if you want, but in my opinion, people don't awaken for personal satisfaction and growth. And if anybody tells you that that's why they've awakened, then they are some sort of false prophet, and you should definitely not be listening to them, because spiritual alignment doesn't care about physical attainment, about the sex and the money and the whatever else. Like, those are 3D sort of influences, and there's nothing wrong with any of them, morally wrong. But the divine would never use those things to uplift someone, in my opinion. The divine would never watch over and protect and guide a soul unless it was for a larger purpose than personal fulfillment and personal attainment, right? That's just my opinion. And that's why sometimes being awakened is so incredibly painful, because we walk the earth and see the gluttony and the greed and the horrors on the daily basis and know that there is so much more. Unfortunately, you're being ripped from a life where there was almost no color and being shown the true color of the world. They want you to find balance. They want you to just go with the flow. Divine feminine energy. What's one more for this judgment? King of Swords in reverse. So you were walking down a path where you were not only detached, he's the most detached, King of Swords. And that's great when it comes to business. He's an absolute killer when it comes to path. He's perfect, the perfect person you want to see when it comes to personal self-development. But when he's in reverse, he's nasty. He's pessimistic and he's passive aggressive and he's cruel. He's cruel. He speaks cruelly to himself and cruelly to those around him because he's so cold and closed off. He is a sword, so it's mostly about the mind. Again, the air sign's really coming through on that one, but he's cold and controlling in a hurtful way because normally he's very integral. I see him as a kind of a mini justice card when he's upright. He just does what's fair, does things by the book. He's very grounded and moral and just. In reverse, that's where the hurt comes from. I'm not saying you were any of those things, but clearly you were on a path where the decisions that you were making were closing you off so significantly from the world that whether you knew it or not, that was the effect you were having. You were being cold, distant, blocked, controlling in one way or another, hurtful in one way or another, and cruel in one way or another. Again, I'm not saying you're a bad person. You got judgment energy over this. They're saying we're ending out that. You're meant for so much more. It's just a hollowness. He has such a hollowness to him. And it's brutal. To get a judgment energy over that, what a saving grace. I know you don't feel like it right now, and it probably sucks to hear someone say, oh, what a blessing. But think about all the figures in the world right now who appear to be so fucking cruel. I don't like the word evil, but if it were to exist, like if the Christians were really right, the evil we see happening all around the world. I'm not saying you were doing that, but I'm just saying like that's the kind of energy where once you close yourself off completely and you lack empathy and you lack emotion, it comes from this place of just literally like soul death. They wanted to stop that before you got to a place where you were just dead on the inside. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying you were going to be a war criminal or anything, but just completely disconnect himself. They gave you judgment over that. That's big. That's big. Again, you're meant for so much more. Temperance. Strength. And look at your major arcana. And strength. The ultimate in pride and achievement. Divine masculine energy. True divine masculine energy. She doesn't, this is why gender doesn't matter. Because look at, she is always on the strength card. And she tames that lion. Not with brute force. Not with cruelty or malice or pain and suffering. She does it with respect. She does it with respect and strength. Integrity. Honesty. Discipline. The force of 1,000 suns. Like she doesn't do it with trivial. Like she does it with like genuine love and gratitude and honor. They're trying to show you these parts about yourself that you've lost by staying in situations that were a ball and chain. And I think in your soul you would know that. But hopefully this message will be finding you to remind you. You shouldn't be uncertain about who you are. The divine clearly aren't. These are your cards. They're not my cards. It's not my opinion. I don't know you, right? What's this Two of Pentacles? What they're wanting you to be adaptable with right now while they work their magic. Five of Wands. So through arguments and chaos and disagreements and people not seeing each other's sides, learn how to see when a situation is a no-win. If you are constantly, I cannot stop seeing that ball and chain with that boomerang card in my head. If you cannot unshackle yourself from someone who is also shackled and you guys are affixed there, you need to claw yourself away. It's a no-win. You cannot change someone's opinion if they are not willing to come to the table and meet you halfway. They want you to see that and be adaptable around that. And being adaptable doesn't mean kowtowing to someone who doesn't see you. It means walking away, putting silence in place, saying, you know what, we're not seeing each other's point of view. Let's revisit this. Let's put this to bed. I don't want to, whatever you want to do. They want you to be adaptable through the arguments. You cannot always make everybody happy. You just have to do what you think is right. And people are not always going to agree, and that is just life. King of Cups, you're repressing your emotion. 2 kings in reverse. So that means too, just walk with me. When you are in a better place, higher vibrational place, and what you're actually capable of, you're actually capable of true heart and mind balance in the soul. You are naturally, lots of people are capable of this, but for the universe to say this is what they're trying to show you is in detriment right now. It's like you're there, it's upright. You fair, oh my God, can I talk? Integral, just, moral, just sound person. Mini justice card, right? And on top of that, when you're in a higher vibrational place, you're very in touch with your emotions. You're psychic, whether you know it or not. Most psychic and creative, very creative, loving, compassionate, caring. Like, you embody this right now. It's in reverse. They want you to see that all of the beautiful things that make you who you are literally not working for you. There's a reason. If someone brings that out in you, they are not meant to be in your life. If a situation brings that out in you, you are not meant to engage with that situation. So in arguments, disagreements, whatever, you would emotionally repress and suppress and go silent. Sign. And then you would become overly emotional and explosive at the wrong time, inappropriate times, because you've been bottling it up for a long time. They're wanting you to find balance. Find balance. Heart and mind. That was one of your cards and the energy that's actually around you. They're trying to show you when it's a good idea to be logical and move with logic, and when it's a good idea to move with your heart. Right now, I think you've got them flipped. Well, we saw your emotion. You're overwhelmed and you're uncertain. It's good. It's not being, you're not applying all these, and you would know that this should be ringing bells, right? When I do a reading for someone, I'm in someone's energy. I'm not telling them things they don't know. Maybe there are things that they haven't thought of in the way that I'm saying them, but it should be like clicking shit into place. If it doesn't click shit into place for you, it's probably not your reading, right? And the only reason I mention that is because I don't like to over-explain myself. And I think for this collective, the more I try to explain something, if you're not getting it, it's because you're in such a state of overwhelm. Like, try to just hear the information without attaching to it. Like, let those puzzle pieces fall into place. It should be taking you to memories and people and situations and feelings and emotions where you're like, oh yeah, I was really cold and distant and bitter, and I didn't show someone grace or compassion when I should have. King of Swords. I was cruel unnecessarily, but it's because I was hiding my emotions and I was trying to be intellectual, but it was the wrong application, right? Oh yeah, I remember a time when I got into an argument with someone and there was so many opinions flying around, but instead of speaking my mind, I just said, you know what, we'll just do what you want. And then 2 days later, when I was in traffic, I was screaming at the top of my lungs because someone was going 500. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they should be clicking into place. Because you're so capable to get the firefly and the owl. Like, you are magic. And I feel a deeper sense of responsibility of finding all the other magical people as someone who is magic, who practices magic, who is an oracle, who is a high priestess. I have a deep ancestral responsibility to find all the other magical people and remind them of who the fuck they are. You have forgotten who the fuck you are. Snap out of it. Don't have uncertainty when it comes to that. Okay? All right, let's just see how Source is seeing your energy. Let's see what archetype you're into, and see how they want you to alchemize that. So the desert and the shadow. Well, we know you're working through your shadow. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, but golly, are you working through that shadow? It comes in waves too. If you're someone who's just recently awakened, just being shown, like just started to get light codes, just started to be open to the universal frequency, I promise you it comes in waves. You'll have days, weeks, months, and it's not always the same period of time, but where, you know, there will be a really intense ignition of information, downloads, right? dream, like however you connect to the divine, everybody has their ways. There can be similarities, but the way I interpret information from the divine, even though I have all the clairs, it's going to be totally different than some other psychic, right? Um, my dream, like I'm a prophetic dreamer. I can astral project if I try really, really hard. I've only done it like a couple times, but like those are the ways that I connect. You will have your own ways, and they come in waves. You'll get a couple days where the signs are just fucking slapping you in the face. Every time you walk out the door, there's the animal, the number, the sign, the sync, whatever. And then it'll be a desert for a couple months. And then boom, you'll have a month where it's like, no matter what time you look at the clock, it's 3:03, 2:42, 1:51. Like you'll have these moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm getting suffocated. Because they're trying to give you lessons in an amount that you can actually tolerate. It's not constant. I actually find that the more spiritually connected I am, the less I see synchronicities and signs out in the wild. When I specifically ask for them, boom, they show up right away. But it's not the random adjustment and constant barrage. That's when you first activate to get you to connect to that pattern of information and become familiar with it and talk to your ancestors and whoever you think is up there and, build a code, allocate your signs and dedicate your meanings, like to build a relationship with your enlightenment, right? That's why it feels like you're in the desert right now and you're really working on your shadow, because they'll turn that fucking dial up to the right temperature and burn out the things they're trying to burn out. And then they'll turn it down and you'll go through a rest period. And then, something will trigger you and they'll turn it back up to burn out the emotion and the feelings and the thoughts that don't serve you. And then they'll turn it back down for a minute. I can already tell you're in an ignition right now. That's why you're overwhelmed. They want you to see this lesson outside the box. Gold, sun, divine masculine energy. That's how they're wanting you to alchemize this. Hold on. I'm just going to get you a few and then I'll pause, get the books, and we'll break it down. So how are they trying to change this in you? The Queen. Oh, get back here. And the Flame. Oof. Powerful. 1 sec. Okie dokie. So, my beautiful angel, let us break down the archetype that you're literally in right now. The thing that's swallowing you whole. The desert. By the way, I live in the desert. I think the desert is... I'm a little, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you, like, prefer something over something else, but it's biased. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But I'm a little biased because I was born in the desert. I will die in the desert. Like, the desert sunsets... I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Like, the desert is such a magical fucking place. Only the strong and the smart and the truly connected can survive in the desert. Like, just genuinely speaking, it's such a magical fucking place. I can tell, though, that you're having a hard time with the idea of this wasteland, right? Where everything's been wiped clean. But that is where the magic is, truly. And I always, anyways, I'm not going to get into it. But, it leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. The endless miles we're confronted with, with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal. You want to go back, and I said it before, sign. You can't go back. I'm sorry. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blinding bright and its darks terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truth resides in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes' call surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. If that doesn't sum it up for you, I don't know what, I have full body goosebumps, the way that truly aligns with everything I've already been yapping about for almost 40 minutes. You do not realize how magical, special, and profoundly life-changing it is to be exactly where you are. And I'm not trying to say that what you're going through isn't hard and that your emotions don't matter and they're not real and they're not valid and you shouldn't be feeling them. I'm saying once you actually do allow the uncertainty to fall away, because again, I said it in that the uncertainty is what's dangerous, and you just feel the sadness, you grieve the before, let go of it, reconcile the past, let the past go, it's gone. and understand where you actually are, that is when you can see the magic. And I always see, if you've seen Dune, God, Denis Villeneuve did such a fucking amazing job with these last two movies. Just the glittery sand, like the magic. It is genuinely like, as someone who lives in the actual desert, it is genuinely like that. And it needs to infiltrate your soul. And I was also hearing Dark Sky Sanctuary. If you can, if you can, I think part of your homework should be that you need to go spend at least a couple nights at a dark sky sanctuary by yourself. If you feel comfortable, take a friend. If you don't, whatever, you decide. But truly, like, sit in the sun. Sunscreen, right? Let's do sunscreen, hats, cover yourself if you can. But like, be in the sun, understand the sun, hear the animals, and then truly watch that night sky, and try to go on a full or on a new moon with no cloud cover, because that's when you're going to see the most stars. But like, just understand, just looking. That's one of the other reasons I love the desert. I know there are dark sky places all over the world, but they're disappearing. And I'm such an advocate for reducing noise pollution. It's actually one of my fucking hot button triggers that will send me into a blind rage when someone has a light on at night and it's like blinding. Like, I can't even, it'll just literally make me so mad, because our ancestors looked at the fucking stars every day and they've robbed us of that. And I'll never, ever, ever forgive our parents and their parents for taking that from us. But anyways, like, looking at the stars really connects you in a profound way to all the things we've talked about, spirituality, something bigger than us. So you cannot fathom the enormity of what you're looking at, and you need to get in touch with that. But the shadow, the unseparable, the unwelcomed, and the denier. Although every card in the archetype deck has shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, made right through effort and achievement. That boomerang energy, you thought you could fix things. You never could. It was always a burden. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuits of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. Flat out, it's denial. Hypervigilance. Trying to constantly fix things. It's a type of avoidance. When this card appears, it's time to take inventory of those things you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, which it probably will, you're touching shadow. When you are coming up against things that make you feel uncomfortable, shadow. Shadow, that's your shadow, that's your ego, that's your trauma. Find support for this deep inner work and move toward the shadow with patience and compassion. So that's where you are right now. And if that didn't resonate, not for you, but stay with me if you want. Watch the whole thing. The way that this, I mean, I say it in like every reading. It always blows my mind how shit lines up for when I do readings. Like, still to this day, I've been doing this for like 20 years. It's always magic to me. Always magic how all the decks have conversations with each other. Like, oh, well, you didn't talk about this, so let's bring this card out, right? It's magic. So this is how they're wanting you to alchemize this energy, is with the energy of gold. So illumination, splendor, and culmination. The alchemist gold is not ordinary. It is not found in rings or coins or necklaces. Well, not with the price of gold these days. Holy fuck, guys. Sorry, they're running away with the price. They're running away with the price. I make jewelry, so I'm like, I don't even look anymore. I don't even look. I haven't bought metal in I don't even know how long. But gold, the ethereal stone, and the divine quintessence, among countless other names, for our purposes, we seek not the physical metal, but the mystical essence within each alchemist. How do we recognize it? It mimics qualities of metal itself, soft and radiant, and its planetary counterpart, the sun, warm and bright. It's no wonder gold is associated with the heart. When this card arrives, there is something of incredible value at hand. It is marvelous and rare. Cherish it. You and your magic. You and your heart. The ability to go through what you're going through. And I'm sure you were not always this way, but I think because I know that you are a King of Swords, King of Cups upright normally. The natural blueprint of you and your soul to be able to embody both of those. That means you're not just rational and kind. That means you are innately and have your whole life been able to see things outside the box, right? You are heart and mind. You embody that essence so beautifully. It's a natural gift, which is some people will spend their whole lives going to seminars and doing ayahuasca retreats and self-help books and spending thousands of dollars in therapy and blah, blah, blah to try to balance heart and mind. I'm not joking. That this is an incredible, and you're a lighthouse. Like, you're rare and special. Like, get it through your head. But for this journey, like, for them to be like, you need to see how special you are, that is the alchemist gold. That is how you get through where you're going. It just makes me sad. I don't even know where I was going with that. It just makes me sad to think that someone this special would not see themselves. I hope this wakes you up a little bit. But it's marvelous and rare. Cherish it, get to know its properties and its source. The gold card carries a distinct shadow. If mistaken for purely physical material, it can lead to greed and excess. There's a reason why I went and, everything I say, always have a reason. There's a reason why I went into that little tangent at the very beginning about false prophets. Watch the whole reading. Go back and watch it. Because it's not about what you attain. It's about who you get to be. It's about what you get to experience. Life is an experience. That's all it is. It's just an experience for growth. It's just a metaphysical ladder for the soul. It is not about what you have. Perfect confirmation. Perfectly fits that puzzle piece right in there. This greed and the excessive possessiveness causes the alchemists to lose their way. Reverence is key. That also tells me, again, in the nicest way, you were trying to hold on to that ball of chain because of what it meant materially in the outside world. It would have been a job at some point. It would have been friends at some point. It would have been family at some point. But I guarantee you it was love. Because in your mind, and this is not your fault, this is society's programming, which you're breaking out of because now you're enlightened and you're seeing that, even though you're trying to go back to not seeing it. Society's programming tells us that we are successful and we are worthy of the gates of heaven, in whatever way you want to put that. You're worthy of admiration and having wholeness when you get a job, go to school, have kids, get married, have the friends, those are things to attain. And when you don't have those from society standards, you're a failure. That's not true. It's not true. It's never been true. It will never be true. It's a tenet of capitalism and white supremacy that we are desperately on this earth trying to break this cycle. I want to break this cycle before I die. I have seen a world without this. I don't want to live in it anymore. You don't either. It is our job to break people out of this spell. And people do it in a billion different ways all day long and have been trying to break us out of the spell for a very, do you get what I'm saying? It's all interconnected with your illumination and your enlightenment period. Grasping onto the idea of the happily ever after that requires you to be hyper independent and hyper vigilant because you want the wife, the husband, the family, the kids. Well, if you're dead on the inside, what does it matter? This collective you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the archetype they're moving you towards. Remember how I said you needed to get more in touch with your feminine energy? Why did I just close that book? Your feminine energy. You're getting in touch with your intuition. You clearly already have parts of the masculine yang energy down. King of Cups, King of Swords. What a beautiful fucking pairing. God damn, is that amazing. Now they want you to get in touch with trusting yourself. Not forcing the river, right? And they're going to do that by igniting the queen within you. Why did I take these out and just close the book? I was all into what I was saying and got so lost. Apologies. Here we go. So, the queen, empress, the mother, the sovereign, like her counterpart, the king, the queen has a dualistic nature. Oh my God, can I talk? She presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of the ego in the world. She is the lotus bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity herself is cradled in her heart. When in light, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness. When dark, vain, wrathful, self-righteous, and demanding. I don't think I can add anything useful to that. Just let it sit. You might have to come back and listen to that a few times. But the flame, the fire, the spark. There's so much about flame, sunlight, which also tells me that you need to spend more time in moonlight, because that's divine feminine energy. You're great with the like, do both, obviously, but there was a reason why I went into that tangent about dark sky sanctuary. You need to understand both energies, but the moonlight specifically. Make some moon water. Drink it every morning. Don't heat it up. Don't make tea with it. Don't cook with it. Keep it cold. Keep it the temperature it was when you made it, right? But in Sanskrit, the word for fire is Agni. The ancient yogis saw this flame at the center of the abdomen and believed it to be responsible for our vitality. When it's lit, we are connected to our purpose and sense that life is a sacred gift. It is said that those who cannot see the sacred around them have their inner flame go out. What was I saying about people who are unawakened? There's nothing wrong with that life, and that's their path. That's what their soul chose, and I trust their soul. But that's not you, and you can't go back, for better or worse. It could be an inner archetype that begs you to light its wick. It's likely that the poet, the mystic, the shaman would call to you with a language of the flame. So you need to, again, and everything I say is for a reason, you need to connect to the mystic within and listen to your downloads. They're probably fucking screaming at you right now, right? Let's just double down and see what your karmic threads are that they're trying to break in this cycle for you. And then we'll get what comes next. All right. Karmic threads for this collective. Rewire the way you love. Well, we know it's going to start by you seeing yourself. Forgive yourself. As the words are coming out of my mouth, forgive yourself. Forgiveness isn't for others. It's for you. Free yourself from guilt and shame. Free yourself. Liberate yourself, friend. Self-loathing and hatred never got anybody anywhere for anything. No matter what anybody says, our pain isn't sacred. Started reading Dostoevsky, and it's fun until he starts bringing up that lesson, and then you're like, okay, fine, whatever. Maybe pick up one of his books. He's an incredible writer, but was an incredible writer. Very dead now. But rewire the way you love. When pain becomes the pattern in love, it's time to relearn connection. Begin again, but differently. And if you keep trying to love someone and they are not receptive to the change, again, it's that at the very beginning is so important, because what's actually around you right now, that would have really hurt for the right collective to hear, but it was so important because you just kept trying. You are maybe even still trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole. Heal the attachment wound and release suppressed emotion. King of Cups in reverse. Bingo. Let the feelings you buried rise without shame. Cry, scream, breathe. Freedom begins where expression flows. And heal the attachment wound. Your worth is not tied to being needed. Let go of proving your value. Just be. Oh my God. I wish I could inject this into every single person's brain. You don't have value because of what you can provide. You have value because you are you in every single way. The attainment of the relationship, the goal, whatever, to be needed and wanted, you need and want yourself first. Nobody will ever return that to you if you do not believe it about yourself. Forgive yourself. Boy, those were spot on. Okay, let's just see. Actually, just one of these. Just one. The black egg. Oh my God. I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't going to read one to you because we got let's just real quick. The black egg. This is how Source is seeing your energy right now. I can't remember the last time I saw this card. Well, there's not very many. These are like the spirit sides of this deck, but speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is it true about the world? When this energy of the black egg is not yet access. We speak from an unsure place. We say things others want us to hear or want to hear, gossip, and repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. God. Do you see how perfectly this aligns with everything we've been talking about? You cannot convince yourself that you have no truth when the truth is genuinely being ignited within you. I actually didn't know this. This is just I think this will bring you comfort because I deeply understand the feeling of wanting to not know, of wanting to be unawakened and unaware and not perceptive and not a higher thinker. Like I know that feeling, and I actually thought I was very alone in that feeling because I felt that way my whole life of, God, I wish I was dumb. I wish I didn't know anything. I wish I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like I wish I wasn't constantly in my head thinking and philosophizing. But then and then I aligned with the right people, and I found out very quickly that they also shared that experience, and it was so liberating to hear people that I genuinely loved, cared about, looked up to, admired, respected, and appreciated say the exact same thing about their experience. Say, I wish I could have like reduced the amount of blood flow to my brain. Like we would say crazy things like, I just begged every day to be not as smart as I am or not as aware. Like, you're not alone in that feeling, but you can't go back. You can't go back. I've tried, friend. I've tried in a bunch of very destructive and harmful ways to make my brain stop thinking. You can't. You have to be authentic. And until you do, it will be like crawling through broken glass on your hands and knees. It will be like pins and needles in the eyes. Because you were never meant to find comfort in a life that wasn't meant for you. And the sooner you mourn that idea that you can go back and just pretend like everything's fine and fit into the mold and be like everybody else, the sooner you will liberate yourself from that energy. I promise. And it is scary, and I do get it. But there's no other way. They should make a way out that's not through, but they don't. I don't remember who tweeted that or when, but it was recently. Okay, let's just see what source has in mind for you. Page of Swords, but in reverse, flippant, nothing to say, not speaking your truth, unanswered questions, finally releasing what doesn't serve you, walking away. This is what comes next. I think you're kind of already in this. Eight of Cups, one of the most painful cards. I talk about it all the time. It's because you have to walk away from things that you don't want to walk away from, but you know if you don't walk away, all you're going to do is suffer. End of a chapter. From a hollow feeling to the star. What a beautiful timeline. No time. That's the reason I got this. Look at that divine masculine at the bottom. The reason I got these is because there's actual timing cards in here. But I think what's important is that you don't focus on the time of things and trying to rush through things. You just actually do everything we've talked about or try to. Because this Page of Swords, nothing to say, this unanswered questions, the sarcastic, passive aggressive. Oh, that's an interesting pairing. Penny and Grace. One more. Sorry, that threw me all the way off. I'm a little, cat's got my tongue just a tiny bit. Whoa, geez, what is happening? We'll get to that in a minute. This Eight of Cups, you're going to be releasing things that don't serve you. Let's get one more to confirm it. Moving on, letting go, releasing mental anxiety from a place of frozen indecision. So right now you're in pause mode, right? You're in freeze mode. That could be like your trauma response is freeze. But something clicks in you. Something is trying to click in you to release limiting beliefs and have mental strength, that it's up to you to take your power back, escape, conquer self-doubt. And on the other side of that is wishes coming true, star, miracle, touch from the heavens. It's not going to just like, boom, all at once, I dream a genie and just, you'll be in there. But it's a type of inspiration that creates true serenity because it soothes the soul, which then soothes the nervous system. It's a type of healing that creates renewal. And again, it's not at the snap of your fingers, but once you finally take that leap of faith, it's a giant fucking exhale. You put your burdens down. You have actual faith and you find hope and calm in that. And it comes in and out in waves, but the more you surrender into that and walk away from things, the more you start to feel that serenity in your purpose. You do have Nine of Cups, and I think, again, that's what you're walking away from. The hollow feeling of self-indulgent materialism, selfishness. Oh my God. You've got the High Priestess here. So you go from lacking feminine energy to the penultimate in feminine energy. Is that the word I'm thinking of? Ultimate. Epitome. Pinnacle. It doesn't get higher than this for feminine energy. She is the bridge between worlds. She is the sacred wisdom from life after life after life that dives deep, the illumination to higher self. She is the calm. She is the river. One sec. That's an incredible jump. I mean, I don't even, new moon. There's no way you're going to land that by the new moon. No offense, but like, I think this is when things start to shift, a change in direction, setting intention, a new cycle begins. So everybody goes through, when you're awakened, you go through these cycles. You got to figure out when your cycles are and like try to track your ascensions if you can. Typically it's between, 1 to 2 years. Every 1 to 2 years, there's some sort of big pivotal shift. You can accelerate that and you can extend it. But just try to, the reason 2 came to my mind, or for me to say that, you might have like 2 years ago really started this journey of being very uncomfortable with where you are and ignoring your intuition, right? They're trying to start you on a new cycle where you lean into your intuition and become this High Priestess from a place of 9 of Cups in reverse. That's an overindulgence. It's a card of addiction and obsession. Like I said, self-indulgence, like indulging in things that don't fulfill our soul. The whole reading, it's that. But end of a chapter, that's achievement. You've got world energy over this. It's going to create a sense of belonging and accomplishment, wholeness, fulfillment, travel. One more. And it's going to be unconventional. And you've got the pairing here. You've got the divine feminine and masculine pairing. I'm not even going to go into what I just heard. No, I'm not, because if it comes out in that, but so ultimate yin and yang internally, right? That's where it should start. It's not going to look the way you thought it was going to look, but it was never supposed to. It was never going to. And that's what being an awakened, rebellious spiritual soul is. It's going to challenge the status quo. It's going to be an alternative lifestyle. It's going to be you thinking for yourself. Non-conforming, bridge between two worlds. Beautiful. True miracle. This is beautiful and incredible, and I absolutely fucking love it. So if you're worried and you're feeling uncertain, don't. This is so divinely protected, this path. All right, so now what is this? Because this, not speaking your truth, the reason why it's not lining up with or feels like any of the energy that I've already been reading in you is because you've got Queen of Coins here. She's my favorite queen. King and Queen of Coins, they're my favorite of all the King and Queens. They're the earth signs. But it's because they really do embody a really beautiful blend of nurturing and realistic. They are kind of in one pairing, King and Queen of Swords and Cups. You know what I mean? But it's the groundedness and the long-term groundedness, because it's coins, which is years in tarot. It just is a very timeless, rock solid. They're my ride or dies. And then over that, nothing to say, you've got that energy. But then you've got 8 of Coins in reverse over that. That's why I'm like, I don't know what this is. Just one more. So I'm asking what comes next. A clear and a purge, some sort of metamorphosis, some sort of rebirth. Hold on. Death in reverse. Whoa. Is that what I think it was? Oh my God. There's so much feminine energy on the table right now. So in addition to this High Priestess, you got the Empress. Now, High Priestess rules over the spiritual. Empress rules over the material. And you got that Queen. That's who Empress is, but it's in reverse. So this is an internal clear and purge of your insecurities, your blocked creativity, you're not paying attention to your body, your dependence and negligence. That's good that we're internally clearing that purge. But then this doesn't, like, this Queen of Coins is really sticking out to me. It could be something that you embody. You just didn't, like, you would embody parts of this, right? I'm not saying that you wouldn't, but it just really sticks out to me. Like, it's the colors of it are sticking out to me. It's almost just like levitating in that area. The all work, no play. You would need a Queen of Coins attitude towards this, where you just lock in and you're organized and prosperous and grounded. You ground the things. You stop being bored with the repetitiveness and the not delivering, and you see things for the way that they really are by clearing and purging. Like, it makes sense in that way. But just one more. I'll drop it if I don't get the card I'm thinking of. Now you've got Ace of Swords with Knight of Swords, fastest moving knight. Yeah, I don't know either, Penny. Did you hear her? What is this, Source? Some sort of mate. Oh, you got another heart and mind card. Something that's made you very... Oh, the wheel. That's why I can't see it. Something with fate is playing out at the next part of your cycle before you can move on to an Eight of Cups. And they're not going to show me what it is, but whatever it is, and I'm not trying to, like, I don't see anything like life-threatening and like debilitating and scarring, whatever. I would say if I did, but Wheel of Fortune, my favorite card. It's about things being out of your hands. It's about the universe. It's Saturn. It's our lessons. It's about destiny, things that were written into your contract that have to do with more than just you. Sorry, I'm just, like, the way I'm seeing all, like, it's almost like a cosmic alignment where everything comes down to the millisecond. That's what the Wheel of Fortune reminds me of. It's going to be a major uncontrollable force. Again, something that you don't see. It's going to feel very unexpected. It's been building momentum for a long time. It's uncontrollable. It's being put into place to create more heart and mind, compassionate, holistic, mindful energy so that you can finally walk away from something. But the reason they're not showing me what this is because it doesn't matter. It's out of your hands. And I don't think you're meant to know. The effect it's going to have on you is really beautiful. But if there were anything still in this collective, you might know intuitively. If you're a high priestess, a hierophant within, you could intuitively already know that there's still one piece of the puzzle that needs to be put into place before you start to walk away. But whatever it is, I think it's something you've been worried about for a long time, or it's going to create a lot of worry. It's going to create a lot of fear and anxiety, but it was meant to remove this misinformation, the cloud of judgment. One last one. Something that's felt very monotonous and there's been a lot of silence around, and you've been flipping and nothing to say. Whoa, and you've got the scythe. That's a some sort of conversation or communication. You've got a sudden, unexpected end, but a liberation nonetheless, a shock, a ripping off of the Band-Aid, a reckoning. How is this going to make you feel? Clearly enough to walk away from whatever it is, and release your mental anxiety, which is good, but how is it going to, whoa. Excluded. One more. Skeptical. So, this is taking quite the turn. It's a wild card. It's open-ended. It's a surprise. But whatever it is, I think the right collective, you would already have an inkling because skepticism is here. But how it's going to make you feel is excluded. A door is shutting here. Let it shut. Let the wave hit you. Let it wash you out. Like, ride it. Ride the wave. Don't stand there trying to fight the ocean. It's meant to cause a redirection so that you finally walk away. Just remember that. Come back and watch this part if you have to. Like if the whole reading aligned with you and now you're getting this pit in your stomach where your shadow is being activated when I'm talking about this, like you kind of know what it is, but you don't want it to be that, or you've had passing intuitions or it clicks later into place, just remember this is meant to create a sudden and unexpected liberation so that you can finally move on. Because I'm literally seeing like a tornado like circle over this. It's needed to 8 and 8 karmic lesson. Ripping off of the Band-Aid, releasing limited beliefs. You have to have this. You have to have this. 888. This is a huge karmic lesson. I didn't even realize that till right now. Whatever you're about to go through is a massive karmic lesson. Don't repeat a cycle here. Let sleeping dogs lie is what I'm hearing. Don't try to fix this. You'll get what I'm saying when it happens. Because on the other side, you've got the Star. Wishes coming true. There's only one major arcana that's about wishes coming true. Like actual miracles. And the world, an end of a chapter, finding wholeness, success, fulfillment, achievement. Let it happen. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. It's part of your growth, your soul's growth. I kind of hate ending something like that on that with such an ominous, like, bell tolling. It's going to be fine, though. Let's just see real quick. What angel's watching over you? We'll get you an angel number. Angel of unconditional forgiveness. Loving encouragement, mercy, fights evil, non-judgmental, sees inner innocence. I raise your vibration through love and forgiveness and help you see the pure heart within yourself and others. Topaz, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, ask your angels, guides, spirit, whatever. Trust fall, 222. So 888 and 222. Look out for those. You probably have already been seeing them, but your angels ask you to trust in your place in life right now. You are in the right place at the right time. It's time to take a look around and enjoy the moment. Everything is where it's supposed to be. And I think I said that like 5 times. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not fucking anything up. Think of one thing you need to let go of so you can enjoy the moment. Give that thing gratitude and then send it off into the universe. Picture it evaporating into thin air. It's no longer something you need to concern yourself with. That's going to be hard for this collective, but just, you have incredible things destined for you. Don't forget that, and don't forget who you are, okay? Good luck.